What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, how you doing?
Doing well, Jared. How about you, buddy? Getting closer.
Getting a little bit closer, that is for sure. This World Baseball Classic has just been fantastic, by the way. Absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
Love everything about it. The early, I get 10 o'clock games, you get 9 o'clock games, all the way. Let's see, I stayed up till 11:30 watching that USA game.
I
A
think it
couple
was
nights
10
ago.
o'clock last night. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, it's been fun. Patrick Sandoval looked pretty dang good against a very, very good lineup there.
Yep.
Mike Trout looks like Mike Trout.
Yep.
Yeah, 250, 500. Was he slugging six? I think you said
Yep.
660.
Yep.
So that's Mike Trout S for sure. With all that being said, I had stuff that we were going to talk about. We were talking Reed Detmers, and then of course something popped into my head. I had to ask somebody a question. They said, "Sure, I'll jump on the podcast with you." So we can't talk about Reed Detmers tonight. Is that okay with you? Because I know we want to talk Detmers.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
Or good to wait, but I'm excited to talk Reed Detmers.
Me too. Me too. Especially with our guests that will be jumping on with us here in the next couple of days. Excited to talk a little Reed Detmers with him. So, Nate, didn't have too much to talk about other than Jordyn Adams. I know you want to talk about Jordyn Adams. Angels made 2 cuts so far. Jordyn Adams is not on that list. Everybody's talking about Mickey Moniak, and everybody's talking about Joe Adell and Brett Phillips, and nobody is talking about Jordyn Adams. Do you think he can win a spot? I mean, it's an interesting question to bring up. I don't think anybody's really thought about it yet, but he's had a nice spring. I know we don't like spring numbers or anything like that, but I sent this to our friend Taylor Blake Ward. I know I asked you a question. I want to keep going here though. I sent it to Taylor Blake Ward, and he sent me a video, and I stopped it at like his peak swing, and he looks very powerful now.
Yep.
You know how
Yep.
he never I mean, covered him his entire career as an Angel, and he's never looked like powerful. He's always done it off pure athletic ability and everything like that. But this year, if any of you listen to this podcast and slow down his swing, side angle, or anything like that, right at contact, it is extremely powerful. And that's one thing that's been missing for him. Like, he's at the moment with what he brings to the table, like, he's probably better than Brett Phillips on both
Yep.
hitting and defensively. I mean, he's a pretty damn special defender. Brett Phillips is as well. Stupid athlete, 80 grade speed, one of the fastest players in baseball when he's there.
That's Jordyn Adams, not Brett Phillips,
Yeah,
by the way.
Jordyn Adams. I mean, Brett Phillips is a damn good defender as well.
Yes.
But oh man, dude, it's something that nobody's brought up yet, and you brought it up, and I want to talk about it. So give me your thoughts here, man.
So I'm a big Jordyn Adams fan. I love Jordyn Adams. The problem is for me, and it goes back to the Mickey Moniak question I asked you on Sunday night. Do you think that Jordyn Adams can be an everyday outfielder in the future? I think he still can be, especially if you give him a full year to play in Double A, or at least to start in Double A, and we can move him up as the year progresses. You know, if he continues to rake, he can go to Triple A. Continues to rake, then maybe he finds himself in the big leagues with an injury or something, or trade deadline or whatever. But he I don't want to stunt his growth because he has grown every single year. Like, you see something change every single year for him to get better. Like, part of it was just him being professional at bats. You know, part of it was just him getting used to facing this kind of pitching. Part of this was it for him, and you mention this all the time. He's a football and a baseball guy. He showed up late with baseball. He was primarily a football guy. He had a scholarship.
4-star commit, or a
Yeah,
4-star
NC
athlete.
State,
Yeah.
I believe, right?
We won't. No, not NC State. North Carolina.
Yes,
North Carolina.
UNC. Don't
UNC.
say
Don't
NC
mess
State.
that up. Yeah,
He's
no,
not an NC State guy at all.
no.
But yeah, so he's a really, really good athlete. And so for him, it was just like, can he catch up with all these guys who have been playing baseball nonstop their entire lives? And I think he's finally gotten to that point where he is like caught up to everyone. I'm not going to say he's like there. Like he's a for sure big leaguer, but he is caught up with everyone where it's like, hey, he looks like everyone else. It looks like he's gotten enough reps. He's dedicated himself to just baseball, and he looks like he could be a starter on this Angels roster in the next year or two. So for me, I would love for Jordyn Adams to be on this roster. I just think that let's put him in center field. Let's let him absolutely show that he can hit, because I think the biggest thing for him too, and you mentioned like the power, the biggest thing for me is the strikeout numbers. Like, can he cut those numbers? Can he put the ball in play? He is one of the fastest guys in baseball. If he were to make the big leagues, he'd be one of the fastest guys in baseball. So if he can put more contact on the baseball and show some power, like we're not asking him to hit 25 bombs. Like if he can hit 10, 15 bombs in double AAA and show that he's going to hit, 290 and not really strike out, just put the ball in play, good things are going to happen when you're that fast. So if he can show that, he's the guy to move Trout to a corner. I know everyone thought it was going to be Marsh or Adele. Adams is the guy to move Trout to a corner, because Adams is such a special talent in center field. And if he can prove that he can hit like he's showing right now, that dude is going to be hopefully Byron Buxton. Like that's always what you dream on, is like a guy like that who's just a stupid athlete, got some really good power, and going to play superstar defense. And if that's what he is, I'm super happy. So I would personally, I would love to see him in the major leagues just because I'm a big Jordyn Adams fan. But for him long term, I think it's better for him to start in Double A, prove that he can rake down there, because you saw it at times in Double A last year, right? You saw like maybe a week or two where you're like, oh man, like he might have turned a corner here, and then the next week it was like, he's kind of his old self. So like that's the kind of thing I want to see from him, is consistency in his at bats in Double A, and then move up to Triple A and show consistency there. And yeah, I think more upside in him than Moniak and Adele. My personal opinion. I know I'm getting carried away because I'm a big Jordyn Adams fan, but I think there's more upside, especially as a starter. Like Adele, we've seen him defensively. He needs to get better there. We've seen him offensively. He needs to show consistent at bats. Moniak, like he's been given opportunities, hasn't really been able to do anything. So Adams is that guy who, if he can put it together, he's still young enough where he can really turn some heads this year in the minor leagues and be like a for sure dude in the big leagues next year, and move Trout to a corner. And now all of a sudden Renfroe goes, you give him a qualifying offer, and now you're getting a draft pick out of Hunter Renfroe. Trout moves to right. You have Adams in center. You have Warren left. And it's like, wow, this outfield's great. And you're getting another draft pick, which means more money, which means you can overpay in the first round, you can overpay in the second round, and now it's just really going to help that farm system even more just continue to develop. So there's a lot of really good things about that.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned it right off the bat here, the strikeout numbers, getting close to 30%. Honestly, you look at it, and this could have a lot to do with the raw athleticism. It could also have to do with the changing.
7 times they've changed his swing in the last 3 years.
Yeah, they've changed his swing a lot, and it doesn't help that he went from Epler, who teaches his one thing, which is very, very much so, I'd say drive line, if that makes sense for hitters. It's
very, very
pull the
different than
ball,
what Perry teaches.
Yeah, pull the ball, hit the ball in the air, where Perry teaches, Perry and staff, should I say? It's not Perry, Epler and staff, Perry and staff. But Perry and staff are more the contact oriented. They're still going to strike out a lot, but that's part of the game right now. But more contact oriented and more of that big athletic, like, let's see if we can find
raw
guys to hit for power. Yes.
Yeah,
and we've seen that in drafts with, just to name one person, Joe Stewart's a fantastic example of that. Just right off the bat.
And now you're adding another change in philosophy. Like this year, what have you heard? The number one thing, and it should have been this for a long time, and I don't think it really was, but the big hitting philosophy change is hit the fastball, be on time to the fastball, attack the fastball. And that's another really change, because I think when you're thinking the way that guys hit, especially when you're trying to hit balls out of the yard, you're looking for mistakes. So you're looking for the hanging breaking ball. You're looking for that fastball that's out over the middle of the plate. And sometimes you can start to guess, because that's the way that hitters can be successful in those type of environments. It's like, okay, I've been given all this data on this pitcher. I'm going to guess to make sure I'm going to guess that I'm right on this pitch, and I'm going to sell out, because if I am right, I'm hitting the ball out of the yard. If I'm wrong, I'm swinging through this, I'm going to look bad. And so now you're starting to see that change in philosophy again, to be on time to the fastball, adjust to everything else, and you're going to be successful. And I think that's what I've been really upset about watching some minor league guys, is it's like, if you can't be on time to the fastball in the minor leagues, how are you going to be on time to the fastball in the major leagues? And I see Marcus Timms doing that, and I'm super excited with what he's bringing over from Miami. He's bringing over a couple guys with him who are preaching the same things. It's like, be on time to the fastball, attack the fastball, and then we can go off that. If they hang a breaker, you can still swing it. And if they're going to throw really good breaking balls, let's not chase it and swing at bad pitches. So I'm really excited with what I see out of Timms, and I think that Marcus Timms, not you, and I think it's really going to help Jordyn Adams too, because like it simplifies the approach. Instead of like, oh, I gotta find a mistake, and now you're thinking like, oh, is this pitch a mistake? Is this pitch a mistake? It's like, no, just be on time to the fastball, get the foot down, get on time to the fastball, and if it spins, take it. If it's a fastball, drive it to a gap and just run for days. And so I'm really, really excited with that, and I think that's really helped Jordyn Adams, because he's probably a smart kid. He's probably overthinking a little bit with it, and now it's like, hey, just hit the fastball and move on. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, absolutely. To answer a couple questions that you asked along your rant, 2020 upside, right? I mean, 20, probably more than that. 20
well, it's
home
probably
runs,
20 bombs and like
20,
40
30,
bags,
yeah,
maybe even 50 bags with the new rules.
yeah.
And I know you're going to be like, oh, you're getting a little carried away, but I think
No,
these
no,
new
no.
rules, like he could easily steal 50 bags.
Stupid fast. I mean, I think last year combined, I pulled up his stats, and let me get to stolen bases here. He stole close to 40 bases last year. Anyways, 35 was it? Yeah, between, I mean,
and he wasn't
18,
getting on base a lot in high A.
No, not at all. I mean, 18.
So the fact that he's able to steal that many bases, and he wasn't really a
33
threat offensively, is ridiculous. So if this change in philosophy can make him a threat offensively, he could hit 20 bombs and steal 50 bags. He could be what Buxton is. Like eventually you would like him to be you would like him to be a little bit more more contact, less swing and miss, and less power, because Buxton seems to be the guy who's going for 30 and 30, trying to hit bombs, and if he hits 215, he hits 215. So if Adams can sit at that 270, 280 range and hit 15 to 20 and steal 40, 50 bags, like he could be the Angels leadoff guy that we've been waiting for a long time. He could be that, there are so many different spots in the order that you could play with him where it's like, hey, put him 7, put him 9, put him 1, put him, like all these different places where it could really set up some different guys. So I'm excited for him. I would like him to get one more year down there. And I think you'll get a lot of answered questions this year if he can play or if he can't. Because if he can hit this year in AA and AAA, the dude's going to hit in the bigs. But if he struggles again, then it's like you might be Brett Phillips.
No, you want to know the comp for him?
Go ahead. Give me your comp.
David Fletcher.
If he can't hit?
Yeah, right? Really good defender.
Well, I said Brett Phillips, but yeah.
No, he's not as bad of a hit like David Fletcher. David Fletcher is a slightly below average league hitter. He's a 90 WRC plus guy in his career. He's not Brett Phillips, who's like a 50, and Brett Phillips is a better defender than David Fletcher. Right. Like, I think that Jordyn Adams.
So Brett Phillips, that's what I was going for, is like Adams could be that 60 WRC plus and that also elite defender with good speed.
Levon Soto.
Huh?
Levon Soto.
Yeah, basically. But like high upside, you're looking at a guy who could put up a 120 WRC plus, because now it's like be on time to the fastball, start attacking that. You can take more walks, which I think is another big thing that they're talking about. It's like, it's okay to walk. Yeah. And I wish they could get in David Fletcher's head and be like, bro, I love that you don't strike out, But if you strike out, you know,
I
four or
don't
five,
want to change what's working though. Like I'm fine with
it's
what
not
David
working.
Fletcher.
He's
I'm fine
he's
with
a
what
80
for
WRC
me. I'm
plus.
fine with what David Fletcher brings to the table. Like he's not a power hitter. He's a
I'm not
contact
asking for
hitter.
him to be a power
No, I
hitter.
know he
but
could
I'm
definitely
asking
take more
for him.
pitches though. Like exactly what
Yes.
like the Billy Bean thing. Like yeah,
Like,
take more pitches type of
it's
thing.
okay to walk.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with him
Yeah.
striking out 10% of the time because he's striking out 5% of the time or something ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
I'm okay with that going up to like 10, 12, 13%. If he's going to walk instead of walking 4% of the time, it's like, hey, I'm walking 10% of the time. Now his 0 for 10 is, hey, I sprinkled in, you know, 1 or 2 walks. That still gives us a chance to score some runs, and that still gives us a chance to get the lineup going again and get us back to Trout, get us back to Ohtani, get us back to Rendon. But if he's going to continue to be like, oh, I'd rather make, you know, weak contact and strike and not strike out, then it's like it just ruins the whole flow of the lineup. So yes, I understand what you're saying. Sorry, we went off on a tangent with David Fletcher, but to get back to Jordyn Adams, yes, he could be a superstar. Let him develop, give him time in AA to prove that he can play. And then, you know, if Moniak or if Adele or if Phillips has to play, you know, I'm still going to plug the Jake Lamb for you. He's still a possibility. Like I'm not going to give up on Jake Lamb. I think he's put together some really good professional at bats, and from the left side, which if we're going to win the platoons, right, you need a lefty who can swing it off the bench. And that's what he's going to be. He's going to be a lefty who can swing it off the bench, can play every position except for shortstop and center field, basically. So I know you're getting upset with me, but you know I'm not.
I want to get back to Jordyn Adams. I got more stuff on him real quick. I mean, okay. I get it. We've talked about all these guys before, right?
Yep.
Like I don't want to beat the bush. Jordyn Adams, we haven't talked about him yet, right? I know. We got plenty of time to talk about these other guys.
Absolutely love him.
Jordyn Adams?
Yeah.
Me too.
Huge Jordyn Adams fan.
Me too. And I'd feel, you know, bad if I didn't say fantastic family as well.
Yep.
Love the family.
Of course.
Supporters. So with that being said, to answer another one of your questions, yes, off the bat, could totally be Byron Buxton. I know that there's some people that never like that comp. I'm not going to call those people out. That was the first comp that was ever given to me, and I like it. I'm going to stick with it. There's always the chance for that to happen, and he's been proving that.
Love center fielder with power and speed. Darn it, I would hate to have that.
Yeah, right. With that being said, I don't think he moves Trout out of center field next year. I think Trout still wants to play there. I know it's not the best thing. I know Mike Trout gets better if you put him at a corner spot. I know Mike Trout is Mike freaking Trout, but that's fine. I think
it depends on how the season goes too.
Yeah. I think that Jordyn Adams would play that Brandon Marsh role next year, where it's like, you can play all 3 outfield positions, you know, in a sense. I think that's kind of where he ends up lying.
If Mike plays 70 to 80 games this year because he gets hurt, they're going to move him to a corner. If he plays 120, he can play center field all he wants. But if he's going to play, if he gets hurt and plays 70 to 80, and we see Jordyn Adams absolutely go off in AA and AAA, it's like, hey, sorry, Mike, like we love you, but you got to slide over to a corner. We got this kid who is unbelievable in center field. We can take some pressure off of you, let you just absolutely rake, play 140 games, and this dude can, you know, just go around and catch everything. So I do agree with you that he doesn't necessarily move him off, but we do have to see how many games Mike plays.
Yeah. Yes. And then final thought, no, I don't think he makes the opening day roster. I just wanted to throw this question out there because I thought it was interesting, and we also just talked about it for like 20 minutes. So there's that.
That's good. No, I love Jordyn Adams. I think he's a really, really good player. He's a special kid, and he has a shot to be a really, really special player. So I don't think that this was a waste of time, just because it gives more time to talk about who he could be. So
late developer. We knew this was going to be the case. You mentioned already with football and everything. Not playing baseball full time until signing with the Angels. So with all that being said, thank you so much for listening to this podcast here at Talkin' Halos. You can follow us on all our social medias. You can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.